white man. As far as motive, the author writes, this attack is a response to the Hispanic invasion of Texas. They are the instigators, not me. He says that he's defending his country from cultural and ethnic replacement brought on by an invasion. He also notably refers to immigrants as invaders 4 times. Also saying that he's against race mixing, saying the country should be divided up so each race has their own territory. The manifesto also concludes with the author saying that their views predate Donald Trump and his campaign and that Trump should not be blamed, and adding that the media will call the author a white supremacist and blame Trump's rhetoric, which the author believes is fake news. Although I will say regarding that note, there have been a number of people comparing the language in this manifesto to words that Trump has used in the past, specifically talking about invaders or invasion.
This is an invasion. We're talking about an invasion of our country. Because you look at what's marching up, that's an invasion. That's an invasion.
Also people arguing that it's not about creating hate, but cultivating and normalizing it. With many posting this clip of Trump seemingly making light of violence against immigrants.
But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no... That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that stuff.
Then, still regarding the El Paso shooting on Sunday, officials formally announced they would be treating the shooter as a domestic terrorist. U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Texas, John Bash, making that announcement in a press briefing. Also saying that the office was seriously considering bringing federal hate crime and federal firearm charges against him, which notably do carry a possible death penalty. Separately, the El Paso District Attorney said that his office has already charged the man with capital murder, and there they will be seeking the death penalty in any state-level prosecution. As far as the federal domestic terrorism case, that does depend on if it is confirmed that the shooter wrote the manifesto. And at that point, according to NPR, the El Paso Police Department chief said it looks increasingly like the shooter in custody wrote the manifesto, with the New York Times also reporting that a federal law enforcement official confirmed that it was written by the suspect. Others have also pointed out the fact that the suspect was from the suburbs of Dallas and that he drove nearly 10 hours to get to El Paso, which is notably a border town where more than 80% of residents are Hispanic or Latino, according to the most recent census. On that note, the Mexican Foreign Secretary said today that 8 of the people killed by the shooter were Mexican nationals. The Foreign Secretary also announced Sunday that the Mexican government will be taking legal action against the United States, but did not specify what they would be doing. Just 13 hours after the shooting in El Paso, a man opened fire in downtown Dayton. He reportedly killed 9 people, wounding 27 others. Among the dead was his sister. And all that damage, despite, according to reports, the shooter was killed by police just 30 seconds after he opened fire. Right now, there's officially no known motive behind this shooting. Authorities are still investigating the matter, although it has been reported that in high school he had a hit list as well as a rape list. But of course, as is always important with these matters, we need to see what comes from the investigation. According to reports, he used a legally purchased assault-style rifle fitted with an extended magazine which could hold 100 rounds. Reportedly, he had more ammunition on him. There was a shotgun in his car. He also reportedly wore a mask and a bulletproof vest during the attack. And following this, of course, we saw a number of responses to the shooting. In Dayton, when Ohio Governor Mike DeWine spoke at a vigil, he was met with chants from the crowd. Regarding doing something, some were focused on the gun control aspect. The presidential candidate and U.S. Senator Kamala Harris.
So the point of this video is I'm documenting more YouTube censorship. That topic, do video games cause violence, has not seemingly been universally banned, because you can see there's one that's gotten through, but on Secular Talk and on David Pakman, both of their videos were shadow banned. Let me try to show you quickly what I'm talking about. They're not showing up in my liked playlist. Let me go back to those videos. Well, they're not even showing up in my history. Let me see if I can. Here we go. This one.
Listen up.
Oh, shut up. So, Secular Talk. This video is not visible in my liked playlist. The same topic is shadow banned in David Pakman. Is shadow banned from David Pakman. This video is not visible in my liked playlist. Let me see if I can skip this.
Is the Republican House Minority Leader, and he weighed in on 29 people being massacred in a 13-hour period, one in a mass shooting in Dayton, and another one in an El Paso Walmart from a white supremacist who made crystal clear, I want to kill brown people. So usually in a situation like this, Well, I was going to say they'd be upfront about what happened, but no, they wouldn't. They would always deflect and obfuscate. But it's clear in this instance, especially in the El Paso shooting, it's the racism, it's the bigotry, it's the xenophobia, it's a terrorist attack, and he was using, you know, a weapon they probably shouldn't have even had access to in the first place. So maybe those are the things we should put front and center. The ideology that drove him to do what he did.
And there's totally nothing wrong with where he's coming from in this discussion so far. For the sake of time, I'm going to skip ahead because I'm curious what he says about how it's linked to video games, but I have noticed that this one is shadow banned, and I'll show you that it's not showing up in my liked playlist.
Let me take a look at their death is toward violence, and they use this as an outlet to get out those weird, strange, bizarre feelings, those wrong feelings that they have. That is way more likely than what he's saying, because we know as a matter of fact that the argument he's making is the opposite of the truth. Because, I got news for you, they have video games in the UK, and they have video games in Japan, and let me take a look at their death count compared to us. They have, like, none of the deaths we have. That's not fair. I think in Japan, maybe they have less than 10 gun deaths per year. In the UK, it's 31. Here we have 10,000 homicides per year, 32,000 total gun deaths when you include homicides, suicides, accidents, so on and so forth. So, you're wrong. You're wrong, and nobody's ever been more wrong. And this is scapegoating, this is deflecting, this is obfuscating, because you want to change the discussion. And notice, you did that. Why? Look at this clip. To this point, have we talked about the real problem at all? No. We've only talked about what is definitely not the problem, which is video games. And the thing that got me maybe even more mad is, look at the...
And the thing that got me even more mad is this video is shadow banned. And the same type of video on David Pacman is also shadow banned. So let me give you a snippet of the David Pacman video that is shadow banned. Go watch that video if you can. This one on Secular Talk. Oh, also, just let me quickly cover this. This video was shadow banned.
We're a buzz.
Ah, God. So I tried to comment on that. So another local news channel, that was just an advertisement, another local news channel, they get shadow banned a lot, let me see if I can give proper credit. KXAN. I see quite a few, and they're all similarly on this same topic, the possible toxicity in their waterways. They've been shadow banned multiple times for that same topic. So I'm not seeing the David Pacman video. Let's see, where is it? This video is shadow banned.
Commented by this administration, leaving a right-wing manifesto, Republicans had to rally around something else, some other talking point. And the talking point they chose basically was video game. We've got to do something about video games, with some vague mentions of social media in the background for credibility's sake, I guess. And we're going to get into some of these examples. Now, just a reminder, this video is going to be demonetized on YouTube. Almost all of today's show will be demonetized on YouTube because it's a show about shootings, terrorism, radicalization, important stuff. I spoke to some other shows. Some people are choosing not to cover this in order to retain monetization. We've got to cover this stuff, okay? So I'm asking you, leave us a tip today. Become a member at joinpacman.com to help out with the fact that today's show is going to be a freebie in the sense of a no revenue show. So they bring out this tired trope of video games cause people to become radicalized and violent and go out and act out all of that violence in the real world. Here's just one short example from Fox News.
Howard, what about video games? So many of these school shooters and others have been sort of raised on a diet of violent video games.
Now this has been studied. Video games may cause already violent people or people predisposed to violence to go out into the world in some cases and commit a real world act of violence that they've already been predisposed to and potentially have even been thinking about. But video games, by and large, are not causing violence in otherwise non-violent people. They will not indoctrinate perfectly reasonable people into the anti-immigrant, xenophobic, white nationalist delusions of the El Paso shooter. And this came up again when Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick went on Fox News. Take a look at this.
And I look at this evil act, and let's condemn it for what it is. Evil. And I say, how long are we going to let, for example, and ignore at the federal level particularly, where they can do something about the video game industry? You know, in this manifesto that we believe is from the shooter, this manifesto, he talks about living out his super soldier fantasy on Call of Duty.
Another Republican, Kevin McCarthy, also on the video game talking point bandwagon, and sometimes they try to temper it a little bit by talking about social media, which does present a whole slate of issues societally, but that really shouldn't be mixed in with this video game talking point. Take a look.
What are your thoughts on that in terms of understanding that words matter and that when we're talking to each other on social media or looking at video games where they're using videos of characters with these weapons, is there a conversation to be had about that, about the tone that this country is using? It's become commonplace to say whatever you want to anybody on social media.
I think we should, and you want to see from these individuals what they wrote in others, but I mean, this may be a place that we could find this ahead of time. There may be a place of what's being written can be changed, could be an indication that an individual needs help and others that we can stop. But the idea of these video games to dehumanize individuals, to have a game of shooting individuals and others, I've always felt that is a problem for future generations and others. We watched from studies shown before of what it does to individuals. When you look at these photos of how it took place, you can see the actions within video games and others. But what I'd like to do is make sure just get all the facts.
So we don't have to pretend that violence in movies and video games has no effect on anyone culturally in any way. But the El Paso shooter is a guy radicalized around specific radical right-wing ideologies. People who play video games and aren't radicalized by the stuff that Trump has been spewing aren't going to go out and commit violence like this. I did a Twitch stream last night. By the way, you should be following me there, twitch.tv/David Pacman. And people ask me, do I play video games? And I said, I don't play very many video games, but the one that I've been playing since I was quite young are the different iterations of Grand Theft Auto, one of the most violent games that is out there, and there's absolutely no connection whatsoever between the cartoonish violence in the game and anything that I've ever even considered doing in the real world. And importantly, other countries have video games. Look at Japan and look at the fact that there are basically no shootings in Japan. Every country has racist people. Every country has atheists, for those who want to blame the fact that God is no longer in school. Every country has mental illness. Other countries don't have the problems that we have, even though they have lots of these other ancillary characteristics. And there are also more general crime statistics to consider. Remember that video game playing in the United States has gone up for decades. Violence in total has also been going down for decades. The general trend is video games up, violence down. So we have to look at the nitty-gritty and the particulars of the types of shootings that we're actually having. And again, just as importantly, by proportion, there is just as much video gaming in other countries, and those countries don't have our mass shooting problems.
So yeah, and we've got a shadow banning problem. There's one more funny, strange issue going on here, and that is, usually I'm hearing about, and I've seen it too, where I've had subscriptions that I was unsubscribed to people that I didn't choose to be unsubscribed to, and I had to go back and find them and resubscribe, etc. And it kicked me off of Secular Talk one time, and I think it did kick me off of David Pakman one time. I can't remember, so that's maybe speculation. I did see, in other words, I'm not looking at it in real time, so I'm not, it's hard to see when I lose a subscription and why that is what I'm getting at. So please don't take my word on what I just said. I'm just commenting that I remember seeing that I was unsubscribed from people that I didn't choose to be unsubscribed to. Now here's the opposite issue. I am subscribed to Apologia Studios, and let's see if subscribed. And I've tried to unsubscribe from this channel at least 7 times, and YouTube will not allow me to unsubscribe, or some hacker if it's not YouTube. And this is what I'm getting at. There's some targeting going on through the computer, and it's very frustrating, and I'm trying to document it. I've been witnessing what I would call electronic harassment since before 2016 election, and it's not fair to call it a video game because it's actually harassment, and I do feel like it's censorship, and I do feel like it stems from the right-wing agenda, and it's through YouTube. So I'll show you in real time. I'm going to try to unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. Okay, let's see. That says it's unsubscribed. Now let me refresh. And I've done this 8 times now, and I'm still subscribed. Nine times. I'm still subscribed. Ten times. Now I know you can't count the ones that I didn't show you on the video here, so that would be 3 times from just the ones that I've shown you, but you know, I'm writing 10 times because I've literally tried 10 times to unsubscribe from this channel, maybe more, and I've shown you 3 of them, and I guess I could keep doing this, but see, still subscribed, so let's unsubscribe again. It shows that I've unsubscribed, and then refresh the page. And obviously this might be a glitch, but I thought it was pretty funny and disgraceful in regards to how messed up YouTube is still. So that would be the 11th time. And you don't see these things unless somebody like me comes along and notes it. And I don't know how long I need to do this to prove that it's a phenomenon to you. I mean, there's a whole lot worse things I could be complaining about, but the gist of it is YouTube needs to fix its website. It's a mess. Whether it's intentionally shadow banning or maybe it's hacked. I mean, who knows? But I've been seeing this kind of stuff that, you know, when somebody's trying to go by what's on the screen and whether they subscribe or unsubscribe, and the computer, the wizard behind the curtain, just messes with them, and they don't get accomplished what normally should be accomplished by unsubscribing, refreshing, and then seeing that it's not unsubscribed again. The point is, you can see it. And some people might think, oh my God, why in the world won't they allow me to unsubscribe? Or in many cases, worse, where you're subscribed to somebody you really want to be subscribed to. I remember who it happened to. So I was, and they still won't do it, you know, over and over again, 16 times. I'm just going to leave it at 15 because I can't just keep doing this, but I'll do it one more time. So that's 17 times. Still subscribed. So let me try to explain who I was subscribed to and then unsubscribed from, and that is Dr. Catherine Horton. Fortunately, I'm subscribed now, but at one point in time, and you can, you know, take my word for it or don't, I'm just continuing to talk about it. I was subscribed, and then I was automatically unsubscribed to Catherine Horton, and I had to resubscribe and ring the bell, and then I have not since been unsubscribed from her, fortunately. I don't necessarily agree with every topic she covers, but I think she's got a lot of important input into what's going on in the world, and it's very frustrating that so much of the problems are censored, not just you know, it's bad enough that the problems are happening, but when the people that are so repressed come back and make a web page about it, and then they lose subscribers that don't want to be unsubscribed, and I wish I could have shown you that in real time, but the point is there's too much shadow banning, there's too much censorship, there's too much repression of free speech. I'm not sure exactly who's behind YouTube problems, but I would imagine it's either a hacker or a YouTube's systems person. I've already called my cable company, and they said they just provide the service. They're basically a bridge from the web page to my computer. And I asked them, well, what do you have to do to make sure that bridge is clean, that there's nobody hacking it? And they said they would get back to me and verify that the bridge is clean and there's nobody hacking their system, but they pretty much guaranteed that there wasn't. Of course, they never called me back. So, I mean, that's the thing. As soon as there's a million representatives in between you know, the victim and the perpetrator, it's really hard to focus on who is really to blame for the censorship. And that makes it easy for people to target web pages and even individual users. YouTube should be held responsible unless they can prove that it's somebody hacking the system. In other words, what is YouTube accountable for its terms of service? What I know what users are accountable for in terms of service, but what is YouTube accountable for in terms of their terms with the service provided to users and that users' right to access information and not have it shadow banned or, straight out banned altogether. I forgot what video that was, but it's gone now. And there's lots of explanations. I mean, maybe the creator of that video just, decided they wanted to edit it or whatever, but it's still something that needs to be looked at, because if you don't police the system, in the extreme, the system has the potential to police you. And so you have to be mindful and watch what's going on. And that's why I'm doing this video. And that's why I comment when I do see, every day I'm on YouTube, I see more shadow banning. And it's definitely not just Republicans that are that are being shadow banned. In fact, I see more progressive pages like Secular Talk and David Pacman are shadow banned constantly. I watch them a lot, so I do see that they're shadow banned constantly. This video was shadow banned on the same topic. So when I see that it's shadow banned, I type a note to specify so that this person knows that this video is not showing up in my liked playlist. The good news is it's not completely censored. It's visible. You go watch it. It's a good video. But the bad news is there's something going on that's not allowing this video on the topic of video games, Republicans blaming the mass shootings on video games. They've shadow banned that topic from David Pacman, Secular Talk, and now Philip DeFranco, and that was what I started with. So let me close with that. And I wish YouTube would take this into consideration and have a statement on it. Fix their system. Their system's broken. It used to be so great, and that's my opinion, that the system's broken. I've just documented 2 different issues and touched on the unsubscribe issue, which unfortunately I didn't show you in real time, but maybe next time. I can't keep up with everything. It's ridiculous. And the thing is, these are things that I can glean and see and show you. But the truth is, with just the witness of what I'm giving, who knows how much more is actually censored and unseeable. I would go so far as to say, well, let's see. And this is an opinion from research. So TYT Nation covered a total lie that Trump made about a helicopter crash back in the 80s. And they covered it very lightly, TYT. It basically says ex-Trump employees say that was a lie, that Trump was just injecting himself into the story to get more credit. But there's something actually ominous about this particular story that I wish TYT had touched on. And that is, there are potential links to real crimes that Donald Trump has committed. To touch on it as it's a total lie is just the tip of the iceberg here. And I wish that there were checks and balances to go back. And this is what I'm even lightly tiptoeing around this subject. But what I've seen in my research is there's some mob connections and possible murder connections for Donald Trump in relation to this issue here. And that's something that really should be investigated, and it was well before his election. And this is why I don't think Donald Trump should ever have gotten close to the White House. There were too many red flags in regards to high crimes, not just misdemeanors, that Donald Trump had committed before getting into office, let alone the amount of his high crimes and misdemeanors after getting elected to office. And it's a big problem. Obviously, I think Americans can see that. Even Republicans realize, now they might say, oh, progressive or Democrat on the warpath, but if there's not something to these statements, why would there be? I wish I could show you the actual amount of videos I've watched since 2016. It's far in excess of 5,000. This is where the counter has just stopped, to be honest. It's like, at least 100,000 videos since 2016 at least that I've watched, and most of them have to do with a lot of interesting subjects, including Trump's connection to 9/11, including Trump's connection to the mafia, including a lot of Trump crimes. And I think those are things that were in the public record and should still be in the public record, unless, of course, they've been censored. And that is one of the issues of why I think censorship is one of the most important issues of our time, as we have this incredible privilege to see an amazing amount of information accessible through YouTube and other websites. But when that information is censored, or even has the danger of being censored, there's an incredible loss to the integrity of the website, as well as damage done to what the truth is. And this is where Republicans and Democrats should agree. Fake news is not okay, but you don't solve that problem by censoring what you feel is fake news. You must allow for free speech, and then you have to be vigilant and make your comment from your opinion side, and that should be honored and never censored. It doesn't matter if somebody's going to come back and do a derogatory video on you. The point is that's their right, and you have the right to say something about them. I mean, obviously the fine line is where it might hurt somebody, but we've got to watch those fine lines, because people are getting killed, and who's getting blamed for the killings?
Scientific research has demonstrated an association between violent video game use and both increases in aggressive behavior and decreases in pro-social behavior, empathy, and moral engagement.
But the idea of these video games to dehumanize individuals, to a game of shooting individuals and others, a problem for future generations.
And there's nothing wrong with somebody expressing their opinion, but what is wrong is somebody actually pulling the trigger. Let's see if this one shows up. I just randomly went to this video. Ignorant politicians blame gaming for shooting again. Let's see if it shows up. So I liked it. You can see that this is real time. I liked it. I have not seen this video before. I don't even know if it's a good video, but I pressed like, and let's see if it shows up in my liked playlist. And this will be the end of the video. It did show up. And the fact that it's got a gun right on the front of it is what's kind of crazy about what gets through and what doesn't get through. I don't think this should be banned. I'm glad it got through. And I showed you in real time that it did get through. But what doesn't get through? Secular talk. And I showed you secular talk did not get through. Let me show you again. This video, secular talk. Fox News and GOP blame meanness of video games for shootings. And I'll show you right now. Look for that title. Nowhere to be found. So once again, an issue of shadow banning, or you could in some ways call it censorship. You know, compared to, I guess it's a video game gun, so it's a little different, but, and it's cool that it made it through. I'm with Kyle Kulinski that basically I'm a free speech absolutist. You know, obviously where somebody's life is in danger because of what somebody else might say, that's where the line is. And people should be careful about that. Oh, this is another one that didn't get through. I liked this. It's a weird video, but it didn't get through. Shadow banned. And again, the issue of shadow banning on the topic of video games, those two got through. This one from Philip DeFranco did not get through. This one from David Pacman on the same topic, video games after mass shootings, did not get through. And this one on the same topic, secular talk, Fox News and GOP blame meanness of video games for shootings. This one was also shadow banned. So three of the same topic video from David Pacman Show, Secular Talk Show, and Philip DeFranco, all three of those videos were banned. I mean, shadow banned. They're not visible on my liked playlist. And that's the problem, is when content creators like this aren't allowed to cover certain things. You know, what the heck is going on with YouTube? And you know, the point is Democrats should stand with Republicans who want an investigation. Now, of course, it wouldn't be good if the government took over and just kept censoring completely, but neither should a private corporation, especially when it's almost a utility. YouTube is so big, Google is so big, it should be governed like a utility, and they should not have the right to be a monopoly, or they should not have the right to violate free speech. And that's what they're doing here by shadow banning Philip DeFranco, David Pacman, and Secular Talk. And then, even worse, pushing me to be subscribed. And I've shown you unsubscribed numerous times. That's like 20 times now that I've unsubscribed from this page. And I'm still subscribed. So I'll leave you with that. To me, I think the greater problem is the GOP and censorship over YouTube, whether it's run by Trump or some institution. It does seem to be incredibly unfair and unbalanced, you know, so therefore Fox News may be into it. But to be fair, I watched the video that Fox News covered with the lady that, oh God, what is her name? Presidential candidate, Democratic presidential candidate, Tulsi Gabbard. Sue's Google. And the Fox News show did a pretty good job. I can't spell. Freaking YouTube poop. And Fox News did a good job covering this. I do like that video. Let's go back and see.
We've done a lot of work on this program to expose the bias and corruption at Google, which is the world's most powerful company by far.
But my question is it run by the United States government anyway, and is Fox News just covering it? Can't stand these commercials.
We've done a lot of work on this program to expose the bias and corruption at Google, which is the world's most powerful company by far.
See if this comes up.
But Google and its employees don't just have it out for conservatives who want to...
Yep, there we go. That one made it through.
Presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard suing Google for $50 million. What's going on?
That's right. The outsider, the Hawaiian congresswoman, she is the first presidential candidate to sue a major tech firm, $50 million. And what she's
Good for her.
is like,
Good for her. Let's see if this one gets through. So, in Google's credit, they do let through quite a few pokes and prods at their company or YouTube. Well, this is YouTube. This isn't Google. I mean, who knows? They're coming through with these. Why they block others, I don't know. But at least I'm policing it so you can see. And that was the whole point of this video, is to show you what gets through and what doesn't get through. Let me do a quick rundown. This is my liked playlist, most recent. And now these are the ones that are visible on my liked playlist. Just so you have a glimpse of my liked playlist in real time. And you have to dig to find it is another issue. Let me touch on that actually real quick. So that's what's visible to me in my liked playlist. But when you come to my channel, you're not going to see all of these. You're going to see this, and this is how YouTube breaks it up. So that's the first one, then there's this, then there's this, then there's this, then there's this. So YouTube does not give an accurate rundown of the liked videos. You have to click on liked videos, and even there, they're completely out of order. They don't follow the path that I labeled them in. You have to go click on liked videos, all videos. Oh, I made a mistake there. Go back home and go to, jeez. So you go to play all, and this is where you can get into my liked playlist. Now see, there's the liked playlist from the first one down, but you can't see that unless you click on that video and then find my liked playlist. And here they show 7 times 5,000. Do the math. That's how many videos I've watched since 2016. It's probably more than that, but at least they give a basic rundown of how many videos are in my liked playlist. And here is my liked playlist. So you have to kind of dig for it. Now, some of my friends, I sent a link to it. And the reason I like this liked playlist forum is it's almost like my own little TV channel. I can put the news clips in the order I wish to put them in, rather than, for example, Facebook newsfeed gets to dictate what news you get to see in the order that they get to put that in. So the editor gets to arrange it. Now, of course, that's probably why you can't see my arrangement when you first come to my page. You have to dig for it. What you see is this arrangement, which is completely disconnected. This video is not first. This video does not follow this video. This video does not follow this video, etc. And so that's the issue that I'm trying to highlight here before the video runs out. The good news is some more polarized, let me say that right, some videos that may seem like YouTube or Google might hide, fortunately they are visible, and I think that's YouTube or Google's strategy to maintain that they're innocent in regards to censorship and shadow banning, because they're guessing that if they show you that they're not hiding videos that point out that they're hiding videos, that they can somehow say they're not hiding videos when they actually still are hiding videos. And that's why I applaud Tulsi Gabbard for the lawsuit as well. And I'm happy to volunteer any of my evidence if that goes through. And hopefully she can make an impact on YouTube. And what's crazy is it's in YouTube's best interest to have a free and fair and free speech honoring website platform, because the users would appreciate it, that their creator content is not being banned or demonetized, or they're losing subscribers when their subscriber didn't unsubscribe, or they're gaining subscribers when their subscriber wanted to unsubscribe, or their videos are being shadow banned, etc. Those are just some of the topics I've highlighted and shown you some of the specifics in this video. Thank you for watching my video, and come visit my channel and like and subscribe so that I can try to keep my channel alive, because the fact is nobody knows I exist on this 2-year epic journey of YouTube research, because I don't have very many subscribers, so they put me at the very bottom of the list. And of course Trump is at the top of the list, and this is one of the reasons that I vote for impeachment. It's crazy to think that a mass murderer, a complete psychopath, is elected in the position that, according to this country, God is supposed to run the nation, and instead we've got Donald Trump running the nation, the most powerful, not just our nation, but the United States has had the gall to step over the boundaries of other nations around the world and polices the world. And meanwhile, most American citizens are marginalized to having to work very hard just to be visible, let alone get paid any money. Even Andrew Yang, he said his mic was turned off during the Democratic debates. It's ridiculous. Everything is upside down and backwards, and everybody's worshiping the idol of Trump, or hating the idol of Trump, and forgetting that it's not all about Trump. And we need to honor Americans and free speech, and take care of our communities, and honor diverse perspectives, and honor the free speech when those diverse perspectives are contradicting each other or against each other, for the sake of a clear picture for truth to be seen. If truth is not seen, then people are force-fed lies, and we get the mess that we're in. And that's been a long time coming. So again, thank you for watching, and please come visit my channel and like and subscribe.